Yes. Okay, I'm not sure if we are live or not live. Yeah, I think so. We're live. So it's always tricky when the streams take some time before. Hello, everyone. I need to do one important thing while I'm talking. You can enjoy the nice view behind me. I need to share something with my guest, the link to connect. Okay, so let me do that right now. And then, yeah. How are things, people? Uh, Say hello on the chat. Be chatty. This is, a relaxed show. Uh, you know, we are there to, you love the Star Wars Legos. Okay. No, no. By the way, that's not Star Wars. That's Breaking Bad, James. But anyway, I think my guest joined, so I will be able to bring him on stage in a few minutes. I see him there. Hi, Nicky. I will bring you to stage in a few minutes. Anyway, welcome everyone for the show number. I stopped counting. Anyway, I'm really happy. I'm streaming again from my garden. Why is that? Not only because it's cool, but also because I'm streaming with my phone. My connection is my phone, my 4G connection, and I realized I get the best connection when I'm streaming, when I'm outside. Okay, it's more than double up my speed. And yeah, and I didn't ask if you can hear me well, but I assume you can hear me well. Otherwise, people will complain. James is there, so rest of the people say hello in the chat. Okay, don't be shy, please. Don't be shy. I'm really happy to bring about our guest today. I will bring it on stage in a few seconds. His name is Nicky, and well, great thing. We won't only speak about that, but he works at Lego, which I find so cool. We will speak about that, but he's also a passionate developer, and yeah, I have a lot of questions for him. And yeah, that's it. So let me go to my studio and let me see if I can bring Nicky on stage. Hello.
Hello, Sebastien.
Hello. Yeah. Well, I can see you well. I can hear you well. That is awesome. So, how are things?
Oh, things are great. Yeah, good weather too, like you have apparently. So everything is cool. I'm standing here in the new campus from Lego. So the new headquarter in Denmark, super cool.
Oh, super cool. Okay, now I want to know everything about it. But before that, I usually, my first question is just who are you? Present yourself in a few seconds. Well, take the time you want.
Okay, yeah. So my name is Nicky Mølholm. I'm a developer that works for Lego, and I've been in the industry since the beginning of the 2000s. So I've some of the beginning of my career was in IBM. So I've been there also. Probably one of the more noticeable companies you would know about, and then of course Lego too. And I've been in other places, small companies and so on. Have had a lot of different roles. Java developer, Java instructor. No predicate developer, so other languages than that. So that is what I'm doing lately here in Lego, working a lot with cloud and so on. And I'm very, active on Twitter. So which is also why I guess I thought you are interested to begin with.
Yeah, I've been following you for a long time. I don't remember when I started following you. I think we never met, right?
I don't know.
No. I've been to Denmark a couple of times for GrillConf, grills,
Yeah, I've been there too. Yeah, super cool conference with great, all of those great technologies, of course.
Yeah. That's organized by Søren. That's how I entered in the open source community. And actually, in Denmark, GrillConf was my second conf ever, and I have really good memories there. But yeah, I think we never met, but yeah, you tweet a lot, and you also tweet some open positions sometimes at Lego.
Mm-hmm.
And let me be honest, I'm really happy at Reddit. But every time I click, I say, "Oh!" And my son, he says, "Hey, Dad, look at this!" Because I can imagine my son is completely crazy about Lego. But you're so. Your favorite, you are Java. You consider yourself as Java developer, or is that?
Yeah, I don't I don't like to use that predicate anymore, because I think actually it's an anti-pattern we have in the industry, that we like to put people into a specific language and so on. So for example, I'm doing hiring, as you also say now. What I'm looking at is I'm not looking for a Java developer. I'm looking for a sharp mind that can show that they have programmed before, and they are able to solve solutions. So I don't really care what language they come with. There are of course extremes where I say it's too alienated to what we're doing. But if you're a wonderful JavaScript developer, or wonderful TypeScript developer, or Scala developer, and so on, then you can very well land this position too. So that's how I feel. I think I've moved a bit myself there the last 5-6 years. I've traditionally always focused a lot on Java, because there's been so much in the ecosystem, Enterprise Edition and so on. Spring was and is big still. So of course, I'm the kind of type that likes to specialize a lot in stuff. And now I'm specializing more in cloud. So probably you can see that on my tweets. It's AWS everything, right? So this is where I put in my love now. I still have the background, a lot of heavy Java stuff, but I'm doing a lot more non-Java today. So a lot of JavaScript and TypeScript. That is my everyday now. It doesn't mean that I don't do Java anymore and I don't like it. It just means that the situation is different. I actually think that because I've landed, a position in microservices, the situation changes a little bit from having a big investment in one type of language in company to actually accommodating different types of languages. And you see that a lot here in Lego. So we don't only use Java. There's a lot of that, of course, but there's also a lot of other languages like Scala, Python, and so on. So you'll find everything here.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and so what are you doing exactly at Lego? Well, I imagine Lego is huge. Even the IT department must be huge. Are you managing the retail stuff or managing the factory? I don't know.
Yeah.
If you can,
I can enlighten you there.
Yeah, enlighten me.
So I'm working actively as a developer, doing backend development, databases, mostly NoSQL at the moment, DynamoDB because we are in AWS.
Yeah.
Do infrastructure code because we build the entire solution ourselves and operate it and so on. So we don't throw it over the fence as we did in the old days. So you can say that is some of the technologies that I'm broadening myself with right now. And the product is the B2B web shop. So the web shop not used by you, but companies, Walmart and so on, that buys Lego and sell it in their stores and so on. So I'm doing that, and this is all AWS. We have serverless, Fargate, containers, right? So a lot of stuff.
I want to talk about cloud. We will talk about cloud. And just curious, you said you moved to the new headquarters. Is that close to Legoland?
It's super close actually. I think I tweeted it recently that you can actually see when you go to the office, right? Yeah. So it's super fun, and I still, even though I've been in Lego, so if I count everything together, it's I guess 5 years almost. If I round up and try to brag with it, right? So I'm still fascinated by the spirit and the things that you see when you see Legoland and the people and the joy and the excitement there, and that's how it can be for some of us in Lego, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
And it is very close. So it's a new, very shiny, big campus. It's still being built actually, and some of us moved in already now, and it's very close to Legoland. Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I went actually when I was young with my parents. We were traveling through Norway because I have family there, and we stopped at Legoland. And yeah, I was 10, something like that. And 4 years ago, I went to Legoland in Frankfurt. Yeah, I think it's in Frankfurt. There's another location in Germany, which was, my son was completely crazy because he was a huge fan of Ninjago, and you have a whole area just for Ninjago. And And also the nice thing that I remember, and then we will move over cloud, was you have a sample factory or like a real part of the factory, how it makes the blocks, and that was so interesting. And at the end, of course, you arrive in the shop, but it's the shop where you pay per weight,
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
The crazy blocks that you never found. I think I was crazier than my son when I wasn't there, and but yeah. Anyway, so super cool. So So yeah, Lego and the cloud, and you and the cloud. Yeah, let's see. Is Lego a cloud company? Well, did the shift entirely to the cloud?
So we still have on-premise solutions in Lego, but there's no doubt about that we are moving more and more into the cloud. We have been doing that for years, and it's continuing to, right? I don't know if we are going to not have on-premise solutions, but we have a lot in AWS, which is our primary strategic cloud partner that we have there. We also have stuff in Azure, but it's when we develop on my team and the teams around me, it's in AWS.
Okay, you also have Azure. Okay, interesting. And when you say AWS, are you deploying on pure on VMs or on Kubernetes?
Yeah, so it's very different depending on where you are in Lego. We are very, you can say, autonomous teams here and there. So we are not working entirely on the same products. It's very heterogeneous, the products that we make. Some have developed and invested in Kubernetes setups, and others have not. So in my area, you will find mostly serverless technologies, but you'll also find something that is a bit similar to Kubernetes, which is AWS Fargate. So before they offered this managed version of Kubernetes, EKS, there was also Fargate, which is a compelling technology where you don't have to provision all the EC2 servers and so on. And that made sense for us originally to invest in those kind of technology because it allows us to move fast. So that is one of the biggest I guess selling points of serverless technologies and so on. And then you as an extreme of that, you obviously have AWS Lambda functions and so on. You find the similar technology in other cloud providers.
Yeah.
But I'll say that it depends a lot on the setting. So if you have a lot of developers working on a platform like hardening the Kubernetes setup, then of course that's a bit different. And you'll also find that in Lego actually.
Okay, interesting. Really, yeah. You have looks like. It reminds me. I remember I visited the campus of Facebook where you have so many different teams doing almost everything, and they can choose almost what they want. And when I hear you, I have almost this feeling of that you have a lot of flexibility inside your teams.
Yeah. So Sebastien, that is also something we are talking about now. As you have also seen, we are going through a very impressive digital transformation in Lego. And I know that there is some awareness about this complete autonomy that we have had and enjoyed for a long time, and then getting a bit control over that. And that is a work in progress for sure. So of course, I know that there are talks about Kubernetes and so on, and I'm also thinking about it. Is that the right approach? Because you can argue that it's the right approach if you have the setup and the investment in the platform team. So one of my colleagues comes from Zalando. I think he's online now, actually. But
okay,
yeah. And
he can send hi on the chat if he wants.
They have actually invested a lot in that, right? So you'll see them dominating a lot in the Kubernetes landscape also. So, and who knows? One day maybe we'll get there, right?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
But Sebastien, I can tell you, I'm very fascinated about both worlds. So you can say the choices about going serverless in our area has been dominated by. So what is wise, given that we don't have the platform team? Is it wise that I and my colleagues start to work on that only and don't get to deliver business features? Or should we use the cloud that we have and simply take off the shelf, which is highly available stuff, hardened security, all that you will get for almost free there. Yeah. So for me, it has been a no-brainer to go down that road. To get the same approach with Kubernetes, you need a very mature team that can do the same, right? Especially if you go into persistence technologies like databases and queue systems. And then it's not fun anymore. So the compute power is the easiest part, right? So that's everybody can do that. It's the other part that I'm more skeptical about. So
yeah. I understand. You say you're moving. Yeah, you're moving fast. Did you go often to production? I'm just asking this question.
So we control. So it's very different according to where you are in Lego, also, of course, because we are so autonomous here and there. But on my team, it has been for the last year a focus to be able to do this with a great confidence that we can do it, and we have no problem deploying on a Friday, but we do consider it before we do it, right? And we are not that company that or my team is not the one that can go and claim we release 100 times a day, because that's simply not where we are. But it is something I'm thinking a lot about, because as I see it, going, making frequent deployments to production, that means they are smaller, hopefully, right? So it means lesser risk and so on. So I think it's the right approach. I totally buy into that idea. And it also means if you're fast to production, it also means that you can undo it fast. So you deployed something, it's rotten, you need to release a patch fast, right? So I think it's super important, and my team is, we have been discussing that, for the last years, right?
Yeah, and indeed, it's not just about going faster to production. It has so many benefits, and and if go.
Sebastien, so the idea is it's not only about, so if you want to go fast to production, it also means that you need to have control over your quality. You cannot do it if you have no well-tested system. That is why we totally buy into testing our stuff, and we do it because we think it's the right thing to do. It's not because we want to check off something. It's because if I have it under control, I know it will catch something, right? If there is an obvious error, and if it doesn't, and we find there's a bug, we add a test to the test suite so that it's called by regression test the next time. So I can tell you that everything we do on our team is to harden that go live process. We are talking a lot about it. We could use a lot of manpower, but we are trying to do the best we can.
Best you can, be efficient. Build the best set. I'm just making the analogy with Lego. Are you using any methodology in your teams? Are you Agile, Scrum? I don't know. I guess it depends.
So I think you can easily call us Agile, right? And we, if we are following Scrum, yes, we have been there and done that, and we have bent the process a bit. And I know as soon as you start to bend that process, you may not be doing Scrum anymore, right? But we are there at Sebastien where we have evaluated, is it the right thing to do to have the daily stand-ups every day? And it's not necessarily the right thing to do every day for our team, but you may find other teams where it's super important to do that. But we have been discussing all that, you can say, process that is in Scrum, whether it makes sense for us. So it's something we work on, and I don't have the solution for every team. I actually truly believe that it's very team specific, how much you buy into that process, right?
So you're pragmatic. I like that, because
I hope so. I think
too hard some methodologies, and I'm unlucky, but I have been in a lot of teams. I never really saw it working perfectly. More in teams where we are agile by organic agile by nature, and be pragmatic. So.
And Sebastien, that's also what I believe in, is the right approach. So you start with that rigid model, because this is the book. You have to follow it in order to learn it and get it, under your skin, right? And then at some point you stop up and say, hey, this really doesn't seem to provide the value that we feel it should provide, right? And that is, we have been there for several areas in the process. And one of the biggest, wins of Scrum is to have those retrospectives, because that is super important to stop up and breathe and find out, so can we improve it somehow, right? And I cannot remember if it was on a retrospective we decided to, tune the process along the way, but I still think it's super valuable.
Yeah.
I think having some process is valuable. Yeah. You may argue that on certain teams you don't need all the bells and whistles in Scrum, let's say.
Yeah, it all depends on the team itself. If you are a lot of seniors or a lot of remote, there's so much moving parts. And that's where you see good team leader or manager that can adapt the right approach.
Yes.
Serverless. Let's talk a bit about serverless. First thing, because I think there's still people not agreeing. What is serverless for you?
Okay. Yeah. So of course there are extremes. One technology that I get to think of is, of course, AWS Lambda. I have some piece of code I deployed. It's a zip file. And, that's super serverless to me. I don't get to think about what is behind the scenes. I may know that there's a Linux runtime there, but it's not something I have nightmares about anyways, right? So that's one extreme. Also, I think having DynamoDB is a serverless enabling technology, right? You point and click. My abstraction layer is a table and indexes on that level. It spares me from having nightmares about how to operate the hosts below it and having hardened security there and be attacked by SSH idiots out there. I think it's and then of course there's this grayscale, right? So is Fargate a serverless technology? And I would argue that it almost is, right? Because I get to provision my tasks. You can probably relate to it as pods or something, right? And this is my abstraction level there. But still, when I do work with containers, I still need to find the point at which it scales out, for example. So I need to find out, should I scale out on CPU usage, or should it be memory and so on. When I work on AWS Lambda, the scale out model is so simple that I don't get to think about it. I know that if I send a request into my Lambda function and another one comes in, they will pop up a new container next to it, and another one, and another one. So it's idiot safe in many ways, and I really enjoy that. I can tell you, it was. I recently had to work again on our Fargate setup. There's a lot of things I love about that, but it was very, apparent to me that it was another abstraction level. I was closer to the metal, and it sounds insane because, of course, it's all virtual and it's in the cloud and so on. But there's for me a big difference there when you compare, let's say, function as an abstraction there. And I know you have similar technologies if you go Kubernetes and so on. So you can get the same, and I'm flexible, Sebastien. I don't argue that one is the perfect one. The way that I think about it is, how do I ensure that I can sleep well at night? So I go on weekends, right? Then I would love to not have nightmares. And choosing some of those serverless technologies that like Lambda and DynamoDB, they are good examples of that. S3, an enormous, fantastic technology. Yeah. When you use those technologies, I'm not thinking about those technologies causing trouble. What I'm talking about is the data that I put into them are tripping up other scenarios in the system, right? That's where the problems is. So it has shifted from being like technical problems because I couldn't operate a Kubernetes setup. So that's how, given that we are the size we are in our team and the teams around me, then serverless is super fantastic as I see it.
Yeah. It removes a lot of friction, and So, I'm more on the Kubernetes side these last days, and I'm using Knative for the serverless solution. You probably heard about it, and what I like about it is that instead of writing 3 different long YAML files, I just say I want a serverless service, and I want to run this container image, and maybe I want some health probes, and that's it. And I send it, and all the magic happened for me. Skill 0 if I want. Skill 2, I don't know. I can. I don't have to care about it. And and it's native to Kubernetes. So if I am running Kubernetes on my Amazon, but I also have some Azure, I will be able to deploy the same resources on all these clusters. So
I totally appreciate that, Sebastien. That's I would also consider that as a serverless technology, given that the hosting platform is under control and so on, right? And I totally appreciate that. So I think you will also find the situation here is because of the staff that we had. And as I also told you, Lego is in a very huge transformation right now, IT-wise, right? So who knows where we'll go in the years. But I have this my major point there is, if we go away from all the truly, say, serverless technologies hosted by AWS, or it could be some other cloud provider, then we better do it at least, almost as good ourselves, right? Because otherwise I'll get trouble. My shop is down, our shop is down. So this colleague I talked about and the other colleagues, we will go to that, let's say, platform team, and that will not be, of course, fun because, hey, there's no income while it's down, right? So that is how I see it. If we go that way, it has to be robust and stable. And I know we have it somewhere in Lego also, but we have been very isolated here and there. So some teams has it under control, like perhaps you have experienced also, and others have chosen serverless to get the work done and move fast. And
So you said you are in a global. The IT is involving a lot lately at Lego.
Yes.
Does it also involve a cultural change between, DevOps, breaking the silos? Is that something that you also have in mind? And
Yeah. So I think that is implicit, and I think that journey actually started for a lot of the teams out here years back, varying degrees all over the company. What we are doing right now is something that is bigger than that. We're trying to shape the organization in a way that is more product oriented, and as you know, it can reflect how the software products also kind of end up, right? So we are trying to organizationally, make a perfect, not a perfect, but a good and streamlined setup, and that is the big change we're experiencing right now. And in addition to that, we are changing a little bit how the engineering teams are put together, at least some of the places in Lego, right? So I think
yeah,
that's in many ways even bigger than if you just operated and yeah. But we have been doing that for years.
yeah.
Different places in Lego, right?
Okay. Whoa, I'm attacked by a bee, but it's gone away. That's the risk of doing that in the garden.
No,
Um,
I don't have them here, so.
you're safe here. About AWS, I see you tweet a lot about certification. So yeah. Can you tell a bit about this certification process? It's there are a lot of certification. I remember I saw someone on Twitter that managed to do them all, which is crazy. But what is your why do you do certification, and how much time does it take? And yeah,
Okay, so in the old days, before I threw my love on the AWS and cloud and stuff like that, when I was developing Java code for the application servers, it was the application servers I was trying to get to learn so that I could recognize the errors and why did it perform that it did. So I've always been like that, that if I put my code somewhere, I want to know where it's running and how it works. So that's my starting point for all this. So the reason for me investing a lot of energy right now in all the AWS stuff here is because I'm using it a lot. We are using it a lot. So when there's trouble, I want to know why. I will try to be the go-to person if there is some, IAM problems, some permissions that doesn't work. I want to tell people how it works with the logs and how to enable metrics and so on. So I want to know the runtime where my the code is just one point. And
yeah,
it depends also, of course, on the constellation that we operate it to, right? I don't just develop the code. I have to operate it effectively too. So I have to know about services like, instrumentation like X-ray and so on, right? So for me, it's a no-brainer that if I want to do my best, I need to learn the platform. If I was in a Kubernetes setup, you would find me doing the same, but with Kubernetes, right?
yeah. Okay, yeah, totally makes sense. And does it take you a lot of time? Are these certification hard? I guess so, but yeah, but
So, Sebastien, it depends very much on your mileage. So, if you have had exposure for AWS for years, which I actually had before I started it went nuts last year, I guess, right?
yeah,
I guess around December, it culminated with me, putting, the pedal to the metal, right? And so I'm spending more and more time on it. And during that journey, it also became apparent that if I wanted to take more than one certification, it was a good time to do it once I just took the other one, because some of the things I learned I actually could use in the next certification. So there's no point in waiting a year for taking the next one. That's why you have seen me super intense in the last months too, right?
okay,
So,
yeah.
but I can tell you that I think once right now I'm focusing on the professional, the Big Brother certification to the solutions architect associate. I'm trying to look at that now, right? So I'm getting up early, trying to study, following video content and so on, and looking at FAQs, playing around and so on. So I'm doing that now, and that is also because I don't want to delay it a year, because then I know it will be a much bigger task. So it's very practical that I do it. Then there is another point to it also. I can also see that it inspires other people, not only here in Lego, but also outside Lego. So it
Yeah.
inspires me that I want to do it even more. But I can also
Yeah.
tell I'm a bit tired now, Sebastien. I've been doing it very much for the last months. I think I need a
Yeah.
break, and I still have some family and so on. I want to keep them,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. And are the exams as crazy as for Kubernetes, or any exams since it's online, you have to have nothing on your walls,
Yeah.
and And yeah.
That's the same, Sebastian. I've been forced to move my laptop around to show what's under the table, what's next to me, and so on. I have to show my wrists, right? Because
your wrist. Okay, really?
you have a smart watch on your wrist, right? So I don't know, but I think it's actually also okay, Sebastian, because there's nothing worse than a dishonest achievement of certification. I can tell you that I'm trying to keep my focus on why am I doing this. I'm doing this so I can move, so I can use it in discussions with my colleagues next to me. I like to say that I'm not doing it just to get the certifications, but of course there's also, it becomes more fun when you get them. So I guess it's just enforcing it a little bit, right? And Sebastian, I think one thing is you can go around and tell yourself that you know all this, but the real test is, can you actually if you go down the study path to one of those certifications to really understand, I learned a lot. So even though I had years of exposure in AWS before I started this, I have learned so much, right? And I think a lot of the people out here that say they don't really need it because they're better than that, of course, right? I think they would learn a lot. It's like taking, I took all the Java certifications when I started in the industry that was super hot back then, right? And I wanted to have the perfect score there, right? I gave it all I could, right? And I couldn't really do it here in AWS, but the last month, it's the same again, right? So it's difficult to combine that, intensity with also having a family. So I'm getting I'm being beaten up a little bit there, right? Because I'm apparently not always there, present in the mind, but that's how it is. Right?
But yeah, I like the fact what you said. It's also just about learning. We must keep learning new stuff.
But Sebastian, that is what it's really about. The thing is, there are very skilled people here, solutions architect in AWS, that has curated some points that they want to have people proven that they can master, right? Because if they master those points, it means that they have awareness of different situations in AWS. Who am I to question that to begin with? Maybe I can do it, in a few years. But I think it's really a good, approach to master an ecosystem in, right? And I hope it's the same when you do Kubernetes certifications or whatnot.
Yeah. I was just checking the chat. Well, people are making fun about how you write Lego, right? Because someone writes Legos. Let me see. Collect an AWS certification like the rest of us collects Lego sets. Okay, so that
was I've seen that, Sebastian. Of course, that's all. But it's the thing is, once you take, let's say, the practitioner certification, and you take the first associate level solutions architect, it's so much easier to take the next associate and the next associate. That's why it can make sense, even though I can see it seems intense and weird. But that's actually why, for me, it was a no-brainer to continue it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we are almost at the end already. Just the last question. Let's talk a little bit about Java again, because in the Twitter thread you mentioned, I will maybe be mentioning Spring Boot. Well, you just mentioned it one, but I love Spring Boot as well. But have you ever tried or played with Quarkus? Do you know Quarkus?
So Sebastian, my knowledge of Quarkus is what I've seen, in presentations. I've never actually used it on the job. I cannot even remember if I pulled it down the shelf and actually tried it out, because my mind has been all sorts of other places. You will find me when I go back and I'm not thinking about so much, AWS. You'll find me a Spring Boot fanboy. And when I say Spring Boot, I'm actually referring to also Spring Framework. Maybe if you followed me for years, you will see that I was a bit like this for Spring Framework at some point, right? And it's still there, but I also find a lot of other technologies, super amazing. I like to work also in JavaScript and TypeScript. I'm amazed about what you can do with TypeScript, and it's so powerful compared to what I can do with Java. And so I think I like to say I'm a bit more open now than I was. Let's say 6 years back, right? Then my world was very specialized, and I don't think it's the answer anymore, to be honest. Not for me, at least.
Okay. Well, that's it for me. I really enjoyed the discussion. It was really interesting to understand a bit how things are working at Lego, but also your approach and ending up with the certification. It was I really enjoyed the discussion. I'm going to do now some live coding for the rest of the people and maybe play a game. You can hang out here or stay on the chat. But I would like to thank you so much for joining. And yeah, hopefully one day we will be able to meet.
Hopefully, Sebastien, and thank you for inviting me. As you know, I don't like to position myself as a rock star. What you know me from is from being super active on Twitter, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly,
I'm not a bad
exactly.
person, but I find it amazing that you want to listen to me. I hope it makes sense
Exactly.
some of it.
It was a not a wild guess, but yeah, I was following you for a long time, and yeah, I try to find interesting guests every 2 weeks and from different profiles, and yeah, and you are present on my timeline, so I say, yeah,
Cool.
let's try it. And, yeah. So thank you so much, Nicky, and hopefully see you next time, and enjoy the rest of your day. Okay.
Yes,
Thank,
have an awesome day, Sebastien. Thank you for inviting me.
thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
So everyone, are you still? Let me double check here. I'm just with one screen. It's a bit tricky, but oh yeah, there's some delay. I still see on the feed. I still see Nicky, but yeah, it was great. It was really great to have Nicky. Really interesting point of views as well. I like to share to hear other points of view. Like he's on the cloud, for instance, heavily, but he isn't using still Kubernetes. I think almost all my guests I had previously speaking about the clouds, they were all speaking, in fact, about Kubernetes. Anyway, let me see how many people are there. Yeah, well, we're still a lot of people here. I haven't prepared any game, but I can deploy a game at any moment. But before we deploy a game, I would like to show you some fun stuff. It's been a long time that I didn't do programming. I will be just live demoing one pretty cool stuff. Okay, I'm checking here on the chat. Okay, let me share my screen. I share my screen here. And yeah, so here we are in Inception mode. You can still see Nicky there in black and white. He's hanging out. But what I want to show you is this. Oh, not WhatsApp, but web captioner. Let me put that in the chat, by the way. It's a simple service to go there. It's a really simple service where you can do captioning of your voice. Okay, it's really important. I still must think about it how I could include that in my stream to make it more inclusive. But yeah, my English is not that good, and still weird things are there. But let me just show you how it works. You go just on with this website, and you can say, "Hello, my name is Sebastien Blanc." Blanc. Okay, Sebastian Long. Okay. Oh, maybe I'm the brother of Josh. No, I'm joking. Anyway, I'm living in France, and you can see here it's capturing my voice and turning that into a text. Okay, to a transcript. So that is pretty nice. I'm not sure which mic it's using, but yeah. Let me stop captioning and let me show you something. This is a cool site. Okay, but there's something even cooler. You can add. Let me go to channels here. You can you can integrate this web service, because it's a web service, to third parties. You can add it to Dropbox, not sure what it will do, but to OBS, that's the streaming platform, okay? To Zoom, if you want to have live transcript of your Zoom meetings, you can add it there. But you can also add a webhook, okay? And a webhook, actually, you can point to any service that is running, okay? Let me go. Oh, it still has my old one. That's not a problem. Documentation, okay? Let me increase that a bit. There we go. You can point to a URL, and for each word that is said, you will receive this payload as a post request, okay, containing this JSON, a transcript with the word you're saying and the sequence if you need to order that, etc. Okay, so I say, hey, that's funny. I want to play with that. Okay. So, and that's what I did. Okay. So let me show you a small application that I did. Let me just double check here first that everything is going well. Hi, people there. Okay. People still there. Awesome. Oh, yeah. You can see. Let me see. Okay. So all you need to do is to configure this and point to a web address. And look at this, I can point to my local address. Okay, so what I have here is a simple application written in Quarkus, of course. And let me see. This is my REST endpoint here, listening on transcript. Okay, that's my endpoint. And then I have here, well, post method, maybe we'll see that later. We have this post method, okay? And here I receive, because, yeah, they don't send it as content type as JSON, though I cannot marshal it directly to an object. I receive that as a string, but that's not a big deal, because I can easily, with a JSON object, extract from that the word that I'm saying. Okay, and here you can see my awesome programming skills with a lot of if and else, because I have no knowledge about how to manipulate transcripts and stuff like that. So I've just been playing, but it starts there. Okay, here I get the transcript. If the word that I say get called skill, okay, so here I do a system print out. Yeah, I don't do a log. I set this variable to true, okay? And then the second time that I arrive in this method for the second word, I check here if I'm in skill mode, so in the second state of my recognition state, okay? If I say, okay, I'm now in deployment mode, and I capture a second word. And this second word, I store it in a string called deployment, okay? And finally, I have when I come the third time in my method, I listen for the third word that I will be saying, okay? And if it's up, here I'm using a Kubernetes client, and I pick the name, I search for the name of the deployment that I said before, and I scale it up. Otherwise, I should say here, if it's down, I scale it down. And the idea here is to be able to scale up or scale down my pods just with my voice, okay? And, well, we can try to make it run, okay? I think I just need to do two things before. Let me say, I need to run, yeah, I need to start a Kafka cluster, but that is because of another stuff that I will maybe show you. But anyway, let me run that. Let me run Minikube. Minikube, you remember, is having a Kubernetes cluster running on your own machine. Let me increase the font, because if the quality is not start, let me do that. Okay, let me double check the chat. If people, what language is this? Is asking Ajay. So, good question. I was making too much assumptions. This is Java. This is Java code, and I'm using a Java stack, which is called Quarkus. I can show you that. If you go to Quarkus, hopefully, yeah. If you go to quarkus.io, okay, I will put it in the chat. Quarkus.io. Let me see that. Quarkus.io, and I'm just making sure, yeah. You will see that there's a Java stack, and it makes you able to build really powerful cloud-native applications, okay? You can compile it to native as well if you want. It integrates really well with a lot of existing frameworks like Hibernate, Infinity Span, Neo4j, and yeah, I love it. I felt really in love with this platform, and there's also a great developer experience. Okay, meaning that you can let me see, everything is started here. Yeah, Java app. So I can start it like a Maven project. Let me say quarkus.dev. Okay, and that will start my application in development mode. Okay, so it will build my project, run it. If everything goes right, let me see if I didn't miss anything. Okay, yeah, it's good. It's running. And now I can make any change to my code, and well, it will still running. Okay, that's are some of the great stuff. But look, my application is running. Okay, and you remember I exposed here in my code something called transcript. Okay, so let's go back to my web captioner, which is running here, and let me do this. Update channel. Okay, and now if the demo goals are with me, I will start captioning and it will capture the words. Let's just make sure if that is working. First step, start captioning. Hello. This is me speaking to my application. Okay, so let me stop here. You could see here in the log, it's capturing my words. So each time that we are here, we are in a post request. Okay, that's cool. And but I didn't say the word skill. Okay, because if I say the word skill, then he will trigger, he will enter the other if statement. Okay, and that's what we are going to do now. Okay, so I got here a cluster running locally. If I do a kubectl, let me do a watch kubectl get pods. So here we will see the pods that are running in my cluster here. You can see I have two pods called banana, and I have one pod called two pods called apple, and one pod called banana. Okay, and what I'm trying to do now, what I will try to do, is to scale down my apple to one pod. Okay, so let me see. Okay, let me start the captioning again. Okay, and we will try it. Start captioning. Scale. Scale. Apple. Apple. Down. Down. Okay, and let's take a look here. And look at this. He is terminating my pod. Okay, so it's working. Let's try to scale up banana. Okay, scale banana up. Let's take a quick look. And look, he's creating for me a new banana. Awesome, isn't it? It's really funny. Let me show you something else. Let's deploy another pod here in our cluster. Let's here I have banana. Let's make it. What can I give it as name? Let's call it orange. Orange. But orange here. Orange. Orange. Let me deploy that. Okay. So here I make a new deployment, and if I do my watch kubectl get pods, you can see I've got my orange pod running. Okay, so I can prove you I'm not saying you anything wrong. Let me just double check on the chat if everything goes right. Okay, everything goes right. Okay, there we go. And he's still capturing my voice here, you see. Okay, let me try that. Oh, I'm lost. Let me go back here. Let's try to scale up orange. Orange up. Okay, you saw, because I mentioned the word, I am not going to say this out, otherwise he will. Oh, and that's a funny thing. He didn't understand up, but he understand down, or I don't remember what I say. Okay, can I try it again? Scale. Orange. 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 down. So look at this. I don't know if you see it. Okay, yeah, and there we get an exception. He understood French instead of orange, which is really funny. Okay, let me stop this app. Let me try to show you the other stuff that I did. Okay, because I had a lot of fun with this application. I mixed that. You wonder why I started a Kafka cluster, because I say, well, since I can capture my words, maybe I can send each word as a Kafka record to a Kafka cluster, okay? And then I can do some manipulation with the words I'm saying, okay? Still following? So let me show you what I did. Still in the same code here. I got here another method, which is called, which has the subpath record, okay? And what I do here, I have an emitter, okay, that will send some load to a Kafka topic. Okay, so I don't go too much in the details. It goes to a topic called Quake event, because I've been playing with Quake as well. So I'm just reusing some stuff, but I'm sending that to a topic. Okay, and then I have a second application that will read this topic. Okay, and he will make some aggregation. He will count how much time I say the same word. Okay, so for that I need to start a second application. If I remember well, I put it there. Pacman, no, not Pacman recorder. That is something else I'm playing with. Word aggregator. Word aggregator. Let me start it. Let me start this, and let's see if it's working. Okay, so. Let me start this app as well. And let me update now the captioning here. Stop captioning. Oh yeah, the webhook is failing, but that's not a problem. Here I say slash record. Okay, I update the channel, so it will go to my other point now. Let's double check that everything is working correctly. Yeah, my aggregator is there. Okay, let me see. Let me open this page here, localhost 8081. Okay, word counts. Oh, I forgot to, I forgot to delete my previous stuff, but it should still work, okay? So that you can see that it's a test I did before, but let me try it. Let me start the captioning. If oh, look, and now it's updated. You saw? I say if two more times, so it updated to 18. Okay, and now 19 because I said it before. If I say if again, it will update to 20. If I say a weird word that I didn't say before, like elephant, no, tiger. Is tiger somewhere here? If I say tiger, there he is. I lost my tiger. Where's tiger? Tiger 2 times. Okay. Oh, and now 3 times because I said it. Tiger 6 times. Okay. So that's just to show you how we can do crazy stuff quite easily. Okay, so I will share all this stuff for you. I'm sorry today we didn't play a game, but I really wanted to show you some live coding, well, some live demo. It's been a while that I didn't do that. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me go back to the chat to see if there are some questions. Yeah, we have Andy say, hey, Kurt say, nice, Andy, that is sweet. Yeah, Sun, hey. Sunny say, sorry, I don't understand anything you're saying. Maybe French, exactly. Orange, French. I'm just curious. Let's see again if he orange. Oh, now French. Orange. Okay. So, please play with that. Okay, I will try to share the code that I did on my Quarkus app. As you can see, it's really simple, and for sure we can make this better. I need to make some kind of state object, that can, every time that you enter this method, the state object change, so it goes from, instead of all these if skills. But I haven't yet think of all what we can do. Maybe a Pac-Man that I can play with my voice, like up, 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 white, white, white. But yeah, we can imagine some crazy stuff. Okay. Thank you everyone so much for attending the show. We will start. And now we will be back in 2 weeks. Okay. I will let you know who the guest is. Okay, will be a really nice guest again. Next week it's Tech Talk. Okay, just let me remind you how you can follow everything that is happening. If you go to dn.dev/upcoming, and I will paste that in the chat as well. Okay, you can see everything, all the upcoming events that we are doing. So right now, it's a show. It's now. Okay. So next week we have a DevNation talk, building streaming application using a managed Kafka service. That sounds interesting. Okay. And by the way, remember next week is also Red Hat Summit. Okay. On Tuesday and Wednesday will be some great announcements, some crazy live demos and keynote demos. I'm also part of one of the demo on day one, so be sure to be there. But did I paste the link? No, I didn't paste it. Let me paste that. There we go. Okay, so hang on there. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day or your evening. And please stay safe. I know we are going through difficult times, but yeah, that's also the reason of the show, to have some good time all together. And yeah, love you all and see you next time. Bye-bye.